Hello gorgeous people, welcome to Nita Crochets. My name is Anita and the hook is my magic wand. Please subscribe for gorgeous content. Today we are making a durag. Yes guys, I loved making my durag. I loved how it turned out. I loved the fit of it. This was my very first attempt, and while I was trying to make it, I made a tutorial as well. So I recorded just at my first attempt and it came out really nice. All right. And it's very simple to make, very easy. You can work with any other stitch patterns. Please get this skirt pattern or written pattern for the skirt on my coffee shop, okay? First of all, the materials we are going to be working with is a 4.5mm hook, scissors, yarn needle, and size 2 yarn. All right, so let's get started. I have my piece, like part of my piece is complete right here. So I'm just going to take you through how I got to where I am right now, okay? And it's very simple. You can work with any other stitch that you want. I just wanted to work a stitch that matches my Eliana wrap skirt, and that the pattern for that is on my coffee shop, okay? My coffee shop and my Etsy. All right, so just check it out and see that you get the written pattern for the skirt. I just wanted to make this durag match that skirt. That's why I used this kind of stitch pattern, but you can change and work with any other stitch pattern that you want. Okay, so let me put this aside so we get started. I am working with size 2 yarn. It's 50 grams and I'm going to be doubling my strands. Okay, so for starters, the stitch pattern I am working with works in sets of 8 plus 2. So for whichever number of stitches that you work, make sure it's divisible by 8 and work 2 more chains on top of the number that you worked for your foundation chains. I hope I am clear. So I'm just going to work a few chains here just to show you how my stitch pattern actually flows, but in actual sense, you must work a total of 90 chains, okay? So to break it down for you, that means we are going to be having 11 sets of 8, because 11 sets of 8 give us 88 chains, okay? And now if we add the plus 2 that I told you about, that you must have at the end of your chains, that makes it a total of 90 chains. So that's what you should have. So I hope that is very clear for you. I am just working a few chains just to show you the stitch pattern, but for you, your foundation chains should be 90, all right? So we are going to work a single crochet into the second chain stitch from the hook, and we shall continue working 1 single crochet into every chain stitch until we come to the end of the row. So you must have a total of 89 stitches once you come to the end of your row. So I'm going to meet you right there and then show you what to do. So I actually don't know the name of the stitch pattern that I'm working with, but I found it somewhere on Pinterest and I got interested in it, so I thought, why not? Now this is how our work looks like for our very first row. Now to start the stitch pattern, we are going to chain 4, okay? 3 of the chains are going to act as a stitch, and then 1 is for the chain gap, all right? Yes, so this is where that double crochet has to be. Okay, so we are going to skip 3 stitches. So that means we skip that and that and that, and then into the next, which is the 5th stitch, we work 2 double crochets together, just like that. Then we shall chain 2, and once again into this very same stitch, we work 2 double crochets together, just like that. And once again chain 2, work 2 double crochets together once again into this very same stitch, just like that. So it's more like a flower stitch and we have like 3 petals, all right? So here we chain 1 and we are going to skip 3 stitches, and then into the 4th stitch we work a double crochet. Okay, so chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and then into the next we work 2 double crochets together, and then chain 2, work 2 double crochets together once again in that very same stitch. And for the 3rd petal, okay, this is more like a modification of a flower stitch, okay? And now once again we chain 2 and then work 2 double crochets together once again in that very same stitch. So then chain 1, skip 3, and then into the next you work a double crochet. It's very easy and it's like fast forming. Chain 1, skip 3, work 2 double crochets together into the next stitch. Chain 2, once again 2 double crochets together into that very same stitch. Chain 2, once again we work 2 double crochets together into that very same stitch, just like that. And now we are going to chain 1 and skip 3, and now into the 4th, which is the last stitch, we work a double crochet. So I know for you must be going on and on because your row does not end here, but yes, this is how your row has to end, and that's how your work has to look like. So for you in total you must have those flowers, sort of like petals, 7 of them, like 7 sets. Okay, so to work the next row we chain 4 and turn our work. Okay, 3 of them act as a stitch, and now we are going to skip 2 stitches. Okay, we are going to skip 2 stitches from here and then work into the very first chain gap that we have. So you see that chain gap right there. Okay, that's in between the first and second petal, and now we are going to chain 3 and into the next chain gap we work a single crochet, chain 1, skip those 3 stitches, work a double crochet into the next double crochet stitch, chain 1, skip 2 and work a single crochet into that chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 1, skip all those and work a double crochet into that double crochet stitch, chain 1, skip all those, then go right into the chain gap, that chain 2 gap, and work a single crochet. Once again chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain 2 gap. Now here you chain 1 and skip all the stitches and work a double crochet into the last stitch. Okay, so this is just a row of chains to prepare us for the next row of the flower petals. So for the next row, once again I am going to chain 4 and turn my work. 3 of those act as a stitch, so I'll skip the first 2 stitches, get into the very first chain gap right there, sorry, the second chain gap, and there I am going to work 2 double crochets together. I don't know if I'm going very fast. I'm just going to make sure that you have the diagram that I was following to work this flower stitch on the side, so you follow that as well. So yes, you chain 2, work 2 double crochets together into that very same chain gap, chain 2, work 2 double crochets together once again in that very same chain gap, then you chain 1, skip all those stitches, go right into the double crochet stitch and work a double crochet, chain 1, skip that chain gap, go into the chain 3 chain gap and then work 2 double crochets together, right there, chain 2, work 2 double crochets together once again into that very same chain gap, chain 2, work 2 double crochets together into that very same chain gap once again, so that we have 3 petals, and then you will chain 1 and go right into the double crochet stitch right there and work a double crochet, chain 1, see how it looks like. So chain 1 and work skip skip the first chain gap, then go into the next, work 2 double crochets together, chain 2, 2 double crochets together once again. So the petals are being worked into that chain gap of the chain gap that had 3 chains, okay? So once again you work 2 chains, and then you work 2 double crochets together, then you will chain 1 and get into the very last stitch, which should be the 3rd chain stitch of the 4 chains that started the previous row. There you work a double crochet. So that's how it looks like. Okay, now you are going to chain 4. I am working the very last row, and I'll let you guys just copy and paste what we have been doing for the previous rows. So chain 4, 3 of them act as a stitch. Okay, get into that chain gap that is in between the petals, the first and second petal, work a single crochet, then chain 2, get into the next chain gap, work a single crochet. Now chain 1, skip 2, and then work a double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 2, work a single crochet in the next stitch. Chain 3, skip 2, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, which is right there. Chain 1, work a double crochet into the next double crochet stitch right there. Chain 1, skip 2, work a single crochet into the next stitch right there. Then chain 3, work a single crochet into the next skip 2, work a single crochet into the next stitch, and then chain 1, work a double crochet into the 3rd chain stitch of the 4 that started the previous row. See how it looks like? So okay, let's get back to my piece. This is how it looks like. I have a total of 30 rows, okay, from bottom all the way up. 30 rows including the first row of single crochet that we worked, okay? Now this is my center. If you count from this way all the way to the other side, I have 11 columns of this lace flower, okay? So that means the 6th column is my center, okay? So that means I have to have 5 columns on both sides, and then the 6th is my center. So mark your center, because we are going to fold our work into, like, fold it just like that, so we can like create some sort of like hoodie, okay? But now before we do that, we are going to work some sort of decrease, because we don't want to have a hoodie that has a sharp corner at the end, like at the end of our head, okay? So to make that decrease, we are going to chain 4, turn our work, and then into the 2nd chain gap we are going to work 2 double crochets together, chain 2, then 2 double crochets together, again chain 2, work 2 double crochets together, all in this very same chain gap, and then chain 1, skip 2, work a double crochet into the next stitch, okay? Then chain 1, get into the next chain gap and work 2 double crochets together, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets together once again, chain 2, work 2 double crochets together once again in that very same chain gap, okay? And then we are going to chain 1, and we shall work 1 double crochet, we shall skip 2 and work 1 double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, get into the next chain gap, okay, and then work 2 double crochets together, chain 2, 2 double crochets together, chain 2, 2 double crochets together, so we have 3 petals. So we are going to do this repeatedly all the way until we are almost close to getting to the marked stitch. So please be reminded, if this stitch pattern is actually confusing for you to work, you can simply work with any stitch pattern that you feel confident with, okay? Just make sure that you you work the decreases. I have worked where I have worked them, and you also have the same number of foundation chains that I had when I was starting my work, so that we have the same width and the same length, okay, for our durag. So basically we are working this until I'm almost close to the marked stitch. That's why I'm going to meet you guys, then show you how to work that decrease. So here I am working a double crochet into this stitch, and you can see I am close to the chain gap, and in this chain gap I had to be working 2 double crochets together to start the petal, but then I am going to cross over in there and work 2 double crochets together, just like that. Okay, so if you're just working with a normal double crochet stitches for your drag, I would advise you work 3 double crochets together at the end of your row, because we want this enormous decrease, so it gives us that sort of like sharp bend, like a sharp curve. Not a sharp curve, but a curve that was not made with a gradual decrease. Okay, so once I have that, I'm going to chain 3 and turn my work, and I'm going to skip 3 stitches, and I'll get into that chain gap right there and work a single crochet. Then I'll chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 1, work a double crochet into the next double crochet stitch. And now from here I'm going to resume exactly what we have been doing. Chain 1, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, then chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 1, work a double crochet in the next double crochet stitch. So do this all the way until you get to the end of your row. Okay, I'm not going to like run so much forward, because I want you guys to be in position to see this clearly, because I realized I must have been going too fast. But then I already explained that you can work with any other stitch pattern you feel confident with. So here I will work a chain 1, get into the next chain gap, work my single crochet, then chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap, I'll chain 1, and then work a double crochet into the 3rd chain stitch of the 4 that started the previous row. So I've ended my 2nd row of decrease, and at this point I'm going to chain 4 and turn my work, and it's not any different that I'm going to do for this row. You see our decrease, okay? So I'm still going to work a decrease right here, okay, so that we have that sort of like curve. I don't want a sharp corner at the end of my hood. That's why, or at the end of my drag, okay, which is going to be at the back of my head. Okay, so for this row I'm going to chain 4, turn my work into the 2nd chain gap. I am going to work 2 double crochets together, chain 2, 2 double crochets together once again, and then chain 2, 2 double crochets together, all in this very same chain gap. Then I'll chain 1, work a double crochet into the next double crochet stitch, chain 1, skip 2, work 2 double crochets together into the next chain gap, and then chain 2, work 2 double crochets together into this very same chain gap once again, and you will chain 2, work 2 double crochets together again in the very same chain gap. Just like that, and then I will chain 1, work a double crochet into the next double crochet stitch. So I'm going to do this until I am almost close to the decrease where I worked my decrease. So I'm just going to let you guys watch what I am doing so I get you there. And here we are, almost close. So I have this chain 3 and then the chain 2 that started the previous row. So I am going to work 2 double crochets together into this stitch, and I will ignore the other chain 3 that started the previous row. All right, so I'm going to end here, and I'm going to cut my yarn and secure my yarn. Secure my end. Okay, I just needed that sort of bend so that I don't have a sharp corner at the back of my head. So we are going to copy and paste what I have done for these 3 rows onto this side. Okay, onto this side. So the bend must be here and going to the other side. All right, just like that. And so you're going to start from the other side of my from the other end of the row, going all the way to the marked stitch, and copy and paste. So this is how it looks like, okay, when I have both ends worked. See that? So I'm going to fold my piece together, and then I'm going to hand sew it together, creating some kind of hood. All right, so you can either use your yarn needle to sew this together, or you can just do what I'm going to do, because sometimes for me I don't like switching from my hook to the yarn needle, so sometimes I just use my hook to stitch pieces together. So this is what I'll do. I'm going to insert my hook into this end of the piece and pull through my yarn, chain 1. Okay, so I'm going to look out for that chain gap in between the first double crochet together. So I'll chain 2, get in there and work a single crochet, then I'll chain 2, get into the next chain gap on both ends, and here I will work my single crochet, chain 2, and I'll get into the double crochet stitch right there, work my single crochet. Make sure that you are touching both sides, okay? So I'm going to chain 2, get into the next chain, I'm going to chain 1 for this double crochet, because remember we had a chain 1 in between, okay? So I'm going to chain 1, then work a single crochet in there. So okay, I'll work my single crochet, and here I am going to chain 1. Okay, get into that chain gap right there. I'll work a single crochet, and I will chain 2 and work a single crochet into this next chain gap, chain 1 towards the double crochet, we chain 1. All right, so I'll work a single crochet into the double crochet stitch, chain 1 once again, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 2, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 1, work a single crochet into the double crochet stitches, chain 1, skip 1, get into the next chain gap, work a single crochet. So basically this is what I'm going to do until I get right there. So let me just take out my stitch marker, just continue doing this, or if this has gotten confusing for you, you can just get your yarn needle and just hand sew all the way down until you get down to the last row where you started to work your decrease. So once done, I'm going to cut my yarn and then secure my ends. I'll get back and weave in that end. Okay, but now if I turn my working out, this is how it looks like. Actually, the seam is not that much visible, so this is how it looks like. Okay, now I am going to work some straps onto this. And to do that, first of all, you are going to count 10 rows from the seam. Okay, from where we like joined our work, you are going to count 10 rows on both sides and mark the 10th row. Okay, so count 10 to the left and then count 10 to the right. Okay, or starting from the seam, like the seam line. Okay, then mark them just like I did, because that's where I want our strap to like get attached onto the drag, and then all the way down my strap. First of all, I am going to get my yarn, make a slip knot, and I'm going to work a couple of chains. I worked about 70, but you can go on and on for the length that you want for your strap. Okay, you can go less, you can go more, but I advise to go more, so that you can, if you really want, if you want a long strap that can wrap all the way around and then get back all the way to the front and make a knot at the front, then you can go a little more higher with the number of chains that you're going to work for your strap. Okay, so here we are. Once I have the length that I want for my strap and the number of chains that I want for my strap, I'm going to get my piece and get right into that marked stitch right there. I'll work a single crochet. Now this is more like to attach the chains that I just worked onto my piece. All right, now I'm going to be working 2 double crochets into every double crochet post. Okay, I usually just work 1 double crochet into the middle of the post and then the other at the bottom of the post. But if that's going to get confusing, you can just simply work 2 single crochets into one spot of that double crochet post, just like I'm doing right now. Okay, so work all the way down until you get to the other side of the marked stitch. There we go. Okay, so this is more like where the seam is, and I'm just going to work my 2 double crochets in there and cross over to the other side. Do the very same thing, work your 2 double crochets into every double crochet post until you get to the marked stitch on this side. So here we are. Once you are here, you are just going to work the same number of chains that you worked previously. Just work the same number of chains all the way, and I'm going to meet you once you have your chains done. And once you have your chains done, this is how it has to look like. Okay, these are the chains and this is the other chains. Okay, now we are going to be working 1 single crochet into every chain stitch. So into the second chain stitch from the hook, we work a single crochet and we continue working 1 single crochet into every chain stitch all the way until we get to the single crochets we worked along the double crochet posts. So also in there we shall just continue working 1 single crochet all the way to the other end of the strap, which is on the left, and in there you work 1 single crochet into every chain stitch until you come to the end of your row. So basically we are just going to keep working single crochets into every chain stitch and every stitch, okay, until the end of the row. And I'm going to do this for the next 2 rows, so I have a total of 3 rows. But if you want to go a little higher with the number of rows for your band, you can go up to like 5, because the more thick your band is, the more it's going to be hard for you to like make that knot, okay, at the back of your head. So go all the way to this side, okay, working your single crochets, then chain 1, turn your work, get back all the way, come back all the way, working single crochets, and do that for the next 2 rows. So let me get back and show you how mine looks like. I hope you love your durag once done. So this is how my durag looks like, okay, and these are the straps. And as you can see, it's well made. So if you look closely once folded, this is the bend that I was talking about. If we didn't do that, we would have some sort of like sharp corner at the back of our heads, okay? But basically that's how you work your durag. I hope you love yours. I love mine. Thank you so much for always choosing to get back to my channel to watch what I have to share. I hope you like it. See you all in my next tutorial. Bye.